What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. We are still on the motherfucking hunt for a fitness tracker that reads through my ink. Well, actually, I take that back. The Whoop reads. This is really spotty. Wait, let me just tell you this really quick. So those of you who haven't been keeping up, right, the most recent Fitbit update caused tons of problems with people's sleep tracking, their heart rate data. Like, it just dropped significantly. It wasn't just me. Initially, I thought it was because of the ink, but the Fitbit Sense, I have never had that issue with reading through ink, right? So I thought, well, Fitbit told me it was because the sensor was smaller on the Lux, blah, blah, blah. And it was actually the update. Well, anyways, it hadn't been reading my sleep, which I didn't really care about because I've been wearing the Whoop on my right arm to track my sleep data and whatever. And then all of a sudden, like a week after having the Lux, like a week or 10 days, it started reading my heart rate like perfectly fine at night. And it was tracking my nighttime sleep like completely normal, the regular improved performance metrics. Fitbit has these two different types of sleep tracking. It's like the regular one that doesn't show you your REM sleep, your deep sleep, all that data. And then they have the improved or updated sleep tracker, which only shows if your heart rate is read consistently throughout the night. Anyways, mine wasn't doing that ever since I got the Lux. All of a sudden it started doing it. I don't know, I can't keep up, but this is crazy. Anyways, today we are talking about this Polar Ignite 2. Now, I promised a review / first impressions on every single thing that I am trying, and I have quite a bit to say about this one. Let's get on into it. First of all, Polar was recommended to me by mostly runners. I feel like because a lot of people use the heart rate strap that is Polar, it's tried and true. I think it was like one of the first brands to actually make heart rate straps. And obviously when it comes to wrist trackers versus chest straps, the chest heart rate straps are always going to be much more accurate than wrist-based data, no matter what you're comparing. So keep that in mind. Polar, I did not know had so many options, as well as the Garmin. If we're being honest, and this could just be my opinion, but if I'm being honest, I do feel like this watch has a very similar look to the Garmin that I reviewed not too long ago on my channel. I will link it in the description as well as put it up there so you can click on it. I do have a full playlist of fitness tracker watch reviews, so check that out if you haven't seen it. Let's talk about the unboxing and the setup. Right out of the box, I was like, oh, okay, I like that it has a round face. Let me show you the back. Heart rate sensors, much more spaced out. The positive is that it does read through the ink. So that was a good checkpoint right off the bat. Now, this is one of those things kind of similarly to the Garmin situation where, like, if you've had an iPhone for so long and you switch to Android, or you've had an Android and you switch to iPhone, it's a really big change. The interface is different. It takes a while to get used to, and you either love it or you hate it. You like change, you dislike change. I am one of those people who dislikes change. Although I was willing to give the Garmin a chance and use that Garmin if it would have read my ink. I was actually like really impressed with everything else minus the sleep tracking and obviously that it didn't track through my ink. I was really annoyed with that, but I had high hopes because a lot of people said that Polar read through their ink and they never had issues with it. So I was like, awesome. All right, so before we get into the metrics and all that the Polar watch offers, let me just tell you, I took this out of the box, went to set it up, and it hit me with the static. And I was like, okay, this is really how this is going to go. So frustrated right off the bat. And the setup on this definitely took close to an hour. I don't know if it was the update, syncing to the phone, it didn't work the first time. It was just not a very easy / user-friendly setup. Could just be my watch that I got, I don't know. But the static, the first time I pressed the button, did not give me high hopes for this watch. I could be being a little harsh, okay? But listen, okay, look at the front of this. You have one little side button here that turns on your screen, and as you can see, this is a very old school analog style looking clock, and you can choose between a couple of them. So if you wanted to leave it on the analog clock to be your main clock, you can do that. You can have it as your training session, you can have the weather, you can have, I don't even know, whatever that is, build some muscle. Your nightly recharge. Unfortunately, I didn't even get to really use that because it didn't read my sleep the first night. So last training session 2 days ago, current heart rate. This is the one that I kept it on because I wanted to see if the heart rate was accurate and if it actually was tracking full time, which I will say it did, and it seemed pretty accurate. When I wore it in comparison to the Whoop and with the chest strap on the Peloton, it definitely was within like 3 to 5 beats per minute of both the Whoop and the chest strap. So I would say accuracy wise, I like that there's obviously 4 sensors on here. That's just going to be with any watch. I don't know, and I guess they don't release this, like the type of technology that they use to calculate HRV, RHR, your current heart rate. I've noticed that just the wider faced watches with more sensors tend to be more accurate. Kind of seems like a given, but it's just something that I would have never thought about until I started having issues with the heart rate tracking itself. If you're somebody who doesn't really care about the aesthetics of the screen itself, like for example, on your Fitbit, just like with Apple Watch, you can change your watch face to so many different faces. They have pre-made ones on the Fitbit app, but you can also like create your own. You can upload pictures. You can do all kinds of stats. It's just very, I don't know, customizable, and it looks very nice. Their LED screen is very bright and colorful and crisp. And this to me, like I'm being honest, this looks like a freaking Nokia from the early 2000s. I don't know. I just feel like for a $229 watch that's supposed to have all these other features that it's kind of similar to Fitbit, or I should say like in competition with Fitbit, Garmin, Apple Watch, whatever, I was so disappointed that the screen looked like this. Now, if you're not somebody who cares about that, then that's fine, but I guess I care about it. So that's just my personal opinion. Anyways, let's get into what it has to offer, because I do think for some people this would be a great watch. There's nothing that I actually like hated about it, to tell you the truth. It was just like not my favorite. I didn't put it on and I wasn't like, oh, I love this. Awesome that it has up to 5 days in watch mode or 20 hours of continuous training. Some people use this for like hiking, backpacking, all that good stuff. It has integrated GPS, advanced wrist heart rate tracking with precision prime sensor fusion technology, which don't really know how that works, but it is advanced. Nightly recharge recovery measurement shows you how well you recover. So that's a little bit more like on the Whoop side of things in terms of performance, which basically is just taking your resting heart rate in comparison with your heart rate variability and coming up with some type of score. Fitbit has this as well with like their stress management score. So if you're familiar with that, it's kind of similar. Also have on watch workouts like the Garmin, like Fitbit. Of course, it's going to be a little bit more basic just because the watch doesn't have great aesthetics. LED, I don't know the word I'm thinking, but you know what I mean. Like it's not very detailed. Okay, it's just, they're like little stick figures. You can do breathing exercises. You can get phone and text notifications. However, you can't text back on the watch or talk into it. There is no speaker. You can download music onto the watch. This was also something interesting that I have not seen on Garmin or Fitbit. It showed energy sources. So after I was done working out, it showed like how much carbs I burned versus fat and protein, which I just thought was really interesting because I've never seen that before, but I also don't necessarily know how accurate that is. Like, where did they come up with this different metric of tracking this? I have no idea. I would love to know more about that, but I just thought that was something different. Also gives you your weekly summary, the weather, of course. You can do different running programs, swimming, sport profiles, the heart rate sensor mode. So basically you can sync it up to your Peloton, although I will say mine did not sync. Again, don't know if that's just my watch in particular, but it didn't sync. And I was wondering, again, if that was because it was already pre-synced to my Whoop, which has been syncing more frequently lately. Like usually when I would go downstairs, it would sync to the chest strap first, but now it's been syncing to the Whoop. I don't know if that's something with Peloton, but apparently with this Polar watch, you can sync it to any Bluetooth compatible cardio machine or anything like that. Let's open up the app here. So you have to download the app called Polar Flow. And I will say right off the bat, I don't love the app interface. I think it was trying to be a little bit, well, I'm saying this with a complete guess. I don't know. It was trying to be a little bit too much like Whoop with the different pages of things. So it doesn't have necessarily all of your data in one place like Fitbit does, but it also wasn't as user-friendly, again, kind of like the setup situation as Whoop was. I definitely felt like it's kind of all over the place in the app. And again, I'm gonna pop it up here on the screen for you. It just looks old school to me. I just didn't love it. And it also did not track my sleep until 2 days. So I don't know if that's just because the heart rate monitor had to get used to tracking and what my baseline was, but it did eventually give me a sleep score, which I will pop up here. In terms of accuracy for sleep data, it was pretty similar to the Whoop. So I think that's a good sign, but I also think that's because it is accurately tracking my heart rate. So, I mean, it did what it's supposed to do, okay? There's only so much difference that you're gonna have between Polar, Garmin, Fitbit, Apple Watch. It's kind of just a personal preference, in all honesty, in what you're looking for in a watch. Do you care more about battery life? Do you care more about tech, fitness, sleep, performance? All those things you need to ask yourself when you're shopping for a fitness/smartwatch. For me personally, this particular watch just wasn't it. I think it was really just the lack of aesthetics when you're looking at it. I mean, even my tiny little Fitbit Luxe that I've been wearing looks better than that on the screen, and the screen's like 1/4 the size. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they could have done a little bit of a better job. But if you're somebody who prefers the simplistic types of watches and having a longer battery life, being very basic, only looking to use your watch for stopping and starting workouts, which you can do directly from the watch, I mean, it's gonna give you pretty much as the Fitbit or Garmin or whatever would give you, with just a slight variance. Okay, so it's not a huge difference. It really is going to be personal preference. With that being said, I purchased this on Amazon for $229, like I said, and I got the gold cream band, which the face of this one was just slightly larger than my Garmin one. So to me, I'm gonna put it on my wrist really quick so I can show you what it looks like. It was a little bit too big, and I think that's probably just because I've been so used to wearing the Luxe for the last couple of weeks. Speaking of the Fitbit, they're supposed to be sending me back my replacement since this week, so we're gonna see. This does have the stopper. I've been big on watches that have the stopper. So this clasp was kind of a pain in the ass. So like they could have just had one there, you know what I mean? Oh God. So for me, like, I don't know if this is just me being picky, but this looks pretty bulky, like size-wise, circumference-wise, if you will. Listen, I'm just here to try to see which fitness tracker I prefer. I'm not telling you one's better than the other. You just gotta do you, boo, okay? But this Polar watch was not it for me. So I think I'm just gonna go back to Fitbit. I really do. I just keep trying them and not liking them, so I might as well just stick with what I know. Anyways, with that being said, let me know if you have any other questions or watches that you're loving. Maybe one day Whoop will decide to put a face on their watch, for the love of God. Like, oh, Fitbit can put one on this tiny little thing. Is it really that difficult to put a screen on the Whoop? I heard actually that Apple Watch was trying to, or just Apple in general, was trying to buy out Whoop, but Whoop said no. Anyways, that's all I have for you in this video. Unfortunately, the Polar Ignite 2 will be going back. So I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much, as always, for your support. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and click subscribe so you never miss Monday or Thursday with Manders. And that's a wrap for the Polar Ignite 2. It's getting the return. So guys, I'll see you in the next one.